Here's a full cinematic emotional story written for your YouTube video, around 1,800 words, crafted to flow as a single part. The dealership was bustling with its usual weekday chaos. Salesmen smiling, customers testing out vehicles, the faint scent of new leather and polished metal hanging in the air. Yet, in the middle of the showroom, a man stood frozen, gripping a simple, worn jacket around his shoulders, his eyes locked on a shiny red car that gleamed like it had been pulled straight from a magazine. It was a car most people would only dream of, the kind of car that turned heads and whispered success. But to him, it wasn't about status or appearances or even performance. It was about his daughter, about the small wish she had whispered to him weeks ago so quietly that he almost didn't hear it. "Dad," she had said, her voice hopeful. "This Christmas, can we just drive something special just for a day? Just for me?" Her words had haunted him ever since. She was only 12, a bright, kind-hearted girl with an imagination that could light up a room, and a heart bigger than her small frame. She had been through so much in her young life. A mother who had left, financial struggles that had swallowed their family savings, and the constant burden of feeling different from other kids who had more than she did. He had promised himself that no matter what, he would find a way to give her joy, even if it meant giving up his own comfort, even if it meant enduring the laughter and judgment of strangers. The salesman approached, his smile polite but faintly condescending. "Looking at this one, sir?" he asked, gesturing toward the red car. "It's one of our premium models, very rare this time of year." The man nodded slowly, his heart pounding. "Yes," he said simply, "I'm buying it for my daughter. Christmas gift." The words seemed to hang in the air. Around them, a few people in the showroom began to snicker, whispering to each other. A man in a business suit laughed, openly, shaking his head. "Buying this for a child? That's absurd," he muttered loud enough for others to hear. A woman rolled her eyes. "He probably doesn't even know how he's going to pay for it," she scoffed. For a moment he felt a flicker of doubt, the familiar weight of embarrassment pressing down on his shoulders. He could almost feel the judgment of everyone in the room. But then he looked at the car again, its sleek lines catching the light, and he imagined his daughter's face when she saw it. He imagined her wide, astonished eyes, her hands pressed against the wheel, and a laugh that could melt the coldest heart. That image, vivid and real, strengthened his resolve. He reached into his worn jacket, and one by one, began pulling out stacks of cash, hundreds, thousands, neatly bundled, the culmination of months of careful savings, odd jobs, and sacrifices no one could see. Every night he had worked late, delivering packages, fixing neighbors' cars, tutoring local kids, doing whatever it took to make this moment possible. Every dollar had been earned not for himself, not for comfort, not for pride, but for her. The snickering grew louder. "Cash? Who even carries that much cash?" someone muttered. "This is ridiculous." The man ignored them. He laid the money on the desk, neat bundles stacking high. The salesman's eyes widened. He fumbled for a moment, clearly trying to mask the surprise. "Sir, are you serious?" he asked. The man nodded, his voice calm but resolute. "Every penny," he said. "This is for my daughter. Merry Christmas." The dealership fell silent. A few people glanced away, embarrassed for their earlier judgment. Others stared, mouths slightly open, unable to process the determination, the love, the sacrifice that radiated from this man. In that moment, it wasn't about money or luxury or social status. It was about something far more powerful, a father's unconditional love and the lengths he would go to make his child happy. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and the quiet power of love, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. As the paperwork was processed, he could barely contain his excitement. He thought about how he would tell his daughter. Would he let her come to the dealership first? Or would he wait until Christmas morning, wrapping the key in a tiny box and watching her tear it open with uncontainable joy? He knew that whatever he chose, it would be a memory she would carry forever. And that thought filled him with warmth, deeper than any car could provide. Hours passed like minutes. By late afternoon, the car was officially his. He parked it at home, a small Christmas tree in the corner of the driveway providing a soft, flickering glow. He waited patiently, trying to contain the anticipation, but when he heard the little feet running down the hallway, he could hardly breathe. She appeared in the doorway, her school backpack still slung over her shoulders, her eyes widening in disbelief. "Dad, is that for me?" she whispered, stepping closer, her voice trembling with awe. He knelt down, taking her small hands in his. "Merry Christmas, sweetheart," he said, his own voice thick with emotion. "All yours." For a long moment she couldn't speak. Then finally she threw her arms around him, burying her face in his chest, her laughter bubbling over in pure, unfiltered joy. Tears streamed down his face as he hugged her back, feeling the weight of every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every anxious moment melt away in that hug. The world outside, the judgment, the scorn, the laughter, no longer mattered. In that driveway, under the soft glow of Christmas lights, there was only love, pure and unbroken. Over the next few days, the story began to spread. A neighbor saw the cash transaction and couldn't believe it. A friend called to congratulate him. Even some of the people who had laughed at the dealership couldn't help but marvel at his dedication. But the father never sought recognition. He didn't care about fame or admiration. What mattered was that his daughter had a Christmas she would never forget, a memory that would outshine any toy, any gadget, or any fleeting gift. He watched her drive the car around the neighborhood, her laughter echoing against the snow-covered streets, feeling lighter than he had in years. She waved at neighbors, proudly introducing them to her car, and he smiled from the doorway, heart full, knowing that this simple act of love had given her something more valuable than the car itself. It had given her hope, joy, and the knowledge that she was cherished beyond measure. Yet, amidst the joy, he also reflected on the journey that had brought them here. Life had not been easy. The divorce had left him with nothing but responsibility and love, no support, and no promise of stability. He had worked long hours in jobs that barely paid enough to cover rent and groceries. Nights were spent worrying about bills, broken appliances, and how to keep food on the table. But he had never given up. And now, in the soft glow of Christmas, he realized that perseverance, love, and unwavering faith in one's child could overcome even the harshest of obstacles. He remembered the first time he had seen his daughter's eyes light up at something she truly wanted. It had been a small toy, a figurine that most children might have overlooked. But to her, it was magic. And from that day on, he promised himself that he would never underestimate the power of small joys, of dreams fulfilled, and of love expressed through action, no matter how impossible it seemed. The following morning, he joined her in the car, showing her the small details, the way the engine purred, the comfortable seats, the stereo system. She asked endless questions, her curiosity boundless, and he answered each one, his heart swelling with pride. And as he drove her around town, letting her take the wheel under his careful supervision, he saw the true gift of that Christmas. It wasn't the car, or even the money, or the judgment of others. It was the shared experience, the laughter, the trust, and the bond between father and daughter strengthened in ways words could never capture. News of the story eventually made its way to social media. People marveled at the father's dedication, the lengths he had gone to make his daughter happy, and the humanity he had shown in a world that often felt cold and indifferent. Comments poured in, strangers sharing their own stories of sacrifice, love, and hope. Many said they had tears in their eyes. Others said they felt inspired to do something kind for someone in their lives. But through it all, the father remained humble, quietly satisfied with the knowledge that his daughter's joy was his greatest reward. Christmas morning arrived, and the house was filled with warmth, laughter, and love. The red car stood proudly in the driveway, a symbol not of wealth, but of devotion. Gifts were exchanged, not for their monetary value, but for the thought, care, and love behind them. And as he watched his daughter open the tiny box containing the car key, the pure, uncontainable delight on her face made him understand something profound. It is not the size of the gift, nor the cost, nor the recognition from others that matters most. It is the love, the effort, and the intention behind it that creates memories lasting a lifetime. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and comment. Let others feel the power of love, sacrifice, and the magic of giving from the heart. And before you go, please leave a comment below telling us how this story inspired you to do something kind for someone you love. As they drove together that Christmas morning, snow gently falling around them, the father realized that he had given his daughter more than a car. He had given her the belief that dreams could come true, that love could move mountains, and that even in a world that sometimes laughed at our hopes, perseverance and devotion could make the impossible possible. And in her laughter, in the sparkle of her eyes, he found a joy so profound, so indescribable, that no amount of money, no judgment from strangers, and no hardship could ever take it away. In that moment, the world seemed right again. And for one father and his daughter, Christmas had become a story of hope, of courage, and of love. An unforgettable gift that would last far beyond that single magical day.